In the AI era, intelligence becomes abundant. Judgment becomes premium. Just think about that for a second. We're kicking off today's explainer with this absolutely massive truth because, honestly, it sets the stakes for everything we're about to talk about. We are rushing headfirst into a world where raw intelligence and information processing, they're no longer scarce. They're basically commodities, cranked out effortlessly by AI. So, what becomes the ultimate premium asset? It's human judgment.
Welcome to today's explainer. Today, we're unpacking a really fascinating strategic brief on Skilligen HDI. We're going to look at exactly how we build the infrastructure for human judgment, right as AI completely rewrites the global economic landscape. This isn't just about learning how to prompt an AI. It's about figuring out how humans actually stay valuable when software can execute pretty much everything else. So we've got a complete explanation of a very real crisis paired with an absolutely massive business opportunity. Here is our quick roadmap for today. We'll start with a new AI dilemma. Define human decision infrastructure, examine the UAE launch strategy, break down the transformation model, and finally, look at building a global ecosystem. All right, let's jump right into section 1, the new AI dilemma. The human cost of this AI disruption is incredibly high right now, and it's hitting young people the hardest. Honestly, Gen Z is currently driven by some really deep fears. Irrelevance, confusion, replacement, uncertainty, and a terrifying lack of direction. Because, well, it turns out that having software capable of doing your homework is only fun until you realize that exact same software is lining up to do your job. Right? When you're constantly told that algorithms can write, code, and analyze way faster than you ever will, it creates a very real crisis of confidence. Young adults are genuinely looking around and asking, wait, where do I actually fit in? And that brings us to the missing link. While all that anxiety is super palpable, there's a critical gap in the market. AI cannot fully replace human evaluation. Tomorrow's markets are still going to heavily reward human interpretation, trust, and adaptability. The fundamental problem, though, is that people currently lack the strategy, the conviction, and the market instinct to actually capitalize on those human traits. They lack direction and decision confidence, and that is a deeply human crisis that requires a structured, scalable solution. Which leads us perfectly into section 2, human decision infrastructure. So what exactly is HDI? It's defined as the infrastructure layer for human judgment stability in AI economies. I absolutely love this framing from the source material. They call it the gym for decision capability. I mean, how great is that? This is not some simple learn-to-code class or a weekend pop-up workshop on prompt engineering. It is fundamental infrastructure, helping people discover exactly where they stay valuable. It's all about building cognitive and strategic fitness so that when AI inevitably shifts the ground beneath our feet, human judgment remains completely stable. When you look at how this breaks down, there is a very clear divide. The AI layer handles all the heavy lifting, right? Execution, automation, optimization, speed, and scale. That's what machines do best. But the human layer, that remains entirely responsible for judgment, interpretation, trust, ethics, and adaptability. HDI acts as the critical bridge between these two worlds. It provides decision stability, context governance, and evaluative independence. It is literally the infrastructure that supports and scales the human advantage in a machine-dominated world. Moving right along to section 3, the UAE launch strategy. Why the UAE? Well, there's a highly unique convergence happening in the United Arab Emirates right now. You have this incredibly rapid, accelerating AI adoption at a national level. But at the exact same time, education transformation is a top national priority. Alongside all that progress, you've got rising concerns about the future workforce. You have anxious parents who desperately want their kids to stay relevant and educational institutions that are hungry for global differentiation. It's basically a pressure cooker of innovation and anxiety. And right inside that pressure cooker lies a massive, highly lucrative, and totally solvable problem. Students sitting in pristine, technologically advanced classrooms are learning information, sure, but they are not learning how to navigate the future. They have unprecedented access to technology, yet they still feel entirely directionless. Because let's face it, information is no longer enough. They need a compass. Let's see how we fix this in section 4, the transformation model. This is the clean 5-step journey that actually takes a student from feeling totally lost to being fully prepared for an AI economy. It starts with a future readiness assessment, moving right into future clarity sessions. From there, students enter HDI microlabs to rigorously test their decision-making in real-world scenarios. Then they're guided into career evolution tracks, ultimately culminating in full human advantage training. It's a structured, measurable, and highly marketable pipeline for building human readiness. The stark contrast between traditional education and HDI is exactly why this transformation is so necessary. Traditional models are hyper-focused on information learning and fixed career thinking, and as we know, that just leads right back to the anxiety and confusion we discussed earlier. HDI Labs shifts that paradigm completely. It moves away from just focusing on a degree to focusing on the human advantage. It replaces passive learning with strategic participation. The end result? You're moving a student from anxiety and confusion to absolute clarity and direction.
The absolutely crucial point here, especially if you're looking at this from a strategic advisor standpoint, is that this transformation creates a massive win-win scenario. For the students, the benefits are obvious. They gain real-world readiness and the decision capability to actually thrive alongside AI. But for the schools and institutions, oh man, they gain premium positioning. They brand themselves as true innovators, securing deep trust from anxious parents and establishing a highly coveted, highly profitable future school identity.
Okay, let's bring it all home in Section 5, Building a Global Ecosystem. If you are an investor or a strategic partner watching this, hear this loud and clear. Do not sell workshops. Sell AI era future readiness infrastructure. A workshop is just a one-off event, right? But infrastructure, that's a permanent, integrated layer of the education system. By positioning HDI as infrastructure, it becomes essential, it becomes recurring, and it gets deeply embedded into how an institution operates every single day. You aren't just selling a service. You are literally selling the cure to existential dread for an entire generation. And because it's positioned as premium infrastructure, the pricing power is huge. We're looking at a robust, recurring annual pricing structure for the UAE market ranging from 50,000 to 500,000 Emirati dirhams. And that scales depending on the size of the institution. So we're talking about highly reliable, annual recurring revenue per institution. The depth of this business model is incredibly scalable too. You aren't just relying on one single revenue stream. You've got direct school licensing. You have specialized future readiness programs. You can tap into enterprise budgets through corporate-sponsored HDI labs. Plus, there's massive potential for overarching government partnerships, given those national priorities we talked about earlier. And finally, you can build an entire certification ecosystem around the whole shebang.
And look, a successful launch in the UAE, that's just the springboard. By establishing a national ecosystem in the UAE first, this model serves as a highly visible platform to expand across the entire GCC region. Ultimately, the broader long-term goal is to establish a global certification ecosystem. You are essentially creating the worldwide gold standard for human decision fitness in the AI age.
So we're going to leave you with this final provocative thought from the briefing. If AI is scaling intelligence, what is your strategy to scale human judgment? Think about it. It's a question every institutional leader, parent, and investor needs to be asking themselves right now. The AI disruption, it's already here, and the human stakes are monumental. The people who recognize the urgency of building human decision infrastructure today are the ones who will capture this unprecedented business opportunity tomorrow. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep learning.